So a couple of weeks ago, John over at the Two Rail Fans channel on YouTube asked what my next big project was here on the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad. And I'm not sure whether that was a gentle push or whether that was a genuine curiosity inquiry or not, but we've got some things to talk about. Welcome back to the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad, everybody. So the subject of this particular video is motivation and drive to get construction done here on the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad, and to focus on how to get it done on your railroad as well. It's no huge subject that construction is more or less stalled here on the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad for the past year or so. I've not gotten much done, and that's owing to responsibilities outside of the layout and rails. Of course, 3 children and what have you, full-time job and things like that. But that's no excuse, because you guys all know that I've been doing plenty of projects on rail cars and locomotives and things like that for the channel here. So, where are we going? We laid the keel of the helix in this room here during the shutdown during the pandemic in the spring of 2020. And the fact that I'm still not done with benchwork yet is a little bit of an embarrassment, to be quite honest. Some of you guys might be familiar with Burr Stewart and his YouTube channel, Much Fun with Trains. He posted a clinic a while back about triage and getting model railroad work done. And he recently actually a couple of years ago, became a YouTuber himself, and noted that one way to stop work on the layout was to start a YouTube channel and begin to post videos. And he's noticed how his level of input onto the layout has gone way down since then. One of the things that I took away from that video is that Burr suggests that we do triage and decide what the most important thing is to get done first, and make a list of those things that are on top. The other thing that Burr suggested in that clinic is to keep a log of your work on the layout. So I'm thinking that I may set something up to keep track of the date, the number of minutes that I spend, and the activity that I did on the layout. And I think it'd be fun to look back on that. Be fun to keep myself and accountable to not only myself but you guys as well. And it seems like it might be a fun way to write content for this channel here as well. So then, what is my immediate path forward here? My aim would be to have all these projects completed and be able to go on to bench work by mid-fall or so, maybe late fall, and then lay track on that, and perhaps have trains running on the mid-level and on the top level, perhaps by Christmas time, or probably a little bit later, but we'll see. So a tour of what needs to be done before bench work can start on the mid-level, and I thought I'd start over here in the Madison subdivision staging area. And I posted a video a while back, and I'll give you a link to it in the description below, how to do these panels on the computer. And what I've gotten done here is I've printed that panel out on 8.5 by 11 and laminated it, and then fixed it to a piece of hardboard, masonite hardboard, and fix my switches. Now I've got all the wiring left to do on the backside, and of course all the tortoise installation here underneath the layout in the Madison subdivision area. So you're seeing the entirety of the Madison subdivision here. The staging area, there'll be layout put immediately above it, so that's why we want to get those switches in. This is kind of the tail end of the Madison subdivision area, and then a couple of connector tracks just for basically turning trains and doing things like that. And then we come to this little area here where there's a switch closer to that U-boat in the background. That switch represents Jasper, Minnesota. The switch in the foreground here, that's just the very tip, very northern end, I guess, of the Madison subdivision staging area. So then we move on here a little bit and come to what I'm calling Metal Arc Tower. This is a fictitious place. This just does not exist in real life, but what does exist in real life is Wren Tower down right north of Sioux City, where the UP and the BN cross each other. And I thought that would be a nice name for one of my favorite birds here in southeast South Dakota. Metal Arc Tower. Then we get to the beginnings of the CMO yard in Sioux City. The back 3 tracks here, the ones with the trains on here, represent the C&W yard in Sioux City. The foreground track is the Marshall subdivision continuing northward to Marshall, Minnesota. That's a logical connection, and that will use part of the Sioux City yard as we move northward on the Marshall subdivision. And then of course in the foreground here, and then I should mention that this all needs panels and tortoise machines, the CMO yard and the Marshall subdivision here. This siding I'm going to call Island. There is a town right north of Garrettson on the Marshall subdivision island. It's a very small town, but I guess at one time there was a roundhouse there way back in the day. And then, of course, we get into the beginnings. This is the north end of the Sioux City yard. There will need to be some switches, tortoise machines put in here because they'll be inaccessible. And then when we get out into the body of the Sioux City yard, my plans are, I'm not exactly sure yet. I'm thinking probably Caboose Industries ground throws with frog juicers, Tam Valley frog juicers to control the polarity on the frogs to make sure that we don't have dead spots out there on switches. And then continuing around to the north end, or excuse me, the south end of the Sioux City yard and this engine terminal here. That'll be the kind of the same thing, perhaps ground throws and Tam Valley frog juicers. And then back to we've got 2 yards here. Actually, we've got Whitewood, South Dakota, the C&W yard, and then we've got the Marshall, Minnesota BN yard here in the foreground. So those will all these will have layout immediately above them as well. So we will want to get tortoise machines on these as well, and panels made for these 2 yards as well. So quite a bit of work to do here before we get started with bench work on the mid-level. You guys might be interested to know that I have quite a few projects that are under development that are almost finished, and these are mostly railcar projects, and I have a couple of really good ideas of things that I'm going to do this fall, and not everything's going to be rail related. I do like to do an occasional tractor video here or there, firewood video, of course, coming up this spring. Here's where we've reached the point where we're going to pull a pin on this particular episode. I hope you've enjoyed the content here. If you did, smash that like button. Leave us a comment. Did you enjoy do you enjoy seeing layout progress videos? Do you enjoy what I'm doing here? Do you hope to see it run to completion? I know I certainly do. Leave us a comment in any case, and I hope to see you in the next one.